Yeah, I think we are live, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
We're a little bit earlier, just like, but all the same, it's good to start early because we don't know. People do join, or sometimes they watch later. They watch more after the shows, from my experience. So, thank you once again, viewers on Music in My Ears, the Nigerian music history channel on YouTube. This is another day, and I have a very special guest, Zem Audu. I want to tell the story how I discovered Zem Audu.
Tell me, I don't actually know.
You don't know how? Okay. Okay, 2019, when Steel Pulse released Mass Manipulation, because I'm a big Steel Pulse fan. So I've been a fan since, I think it should be more than 30 years. I've been a fan of Steel Pulse.
Nice.
More than 30 years. So as usual, I just went to check the sleeve, to check the credits, because I'm more tuned to like having to know the background of the music than even the music before I get into the music. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, I saw Zem Audu. I said, "No, this one is our own." I said, "This must be our own." Then I started, and I went to dig. Okay, I got it. Okay, this actually a Nigerian playing for my favorite band, and I was happy because it's a big thing. It's a big thing. This is a band I've been looking forward to following, and to have a Nigerian playing in that band was a big pleasure for me. So it's my pleasure today again to introduce Zem Audu and to have the opportunity to speak with him on this program. So welcome, Zem.
Thank you very much.
And say hi to Nigerians that will be watching across the world.
Yes, hello everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with Joseph. Thank you, Joseph. This is really nice.
Okay. So normally I have to dig to the early days, the very early days. Where were you born and where have you been? Especially the time you spent in Nigeria is very important for myself, and I believe for the audience that will watch this.
Yeah, for sure. So I was born in Nigeria, and me and my family, we were in Benin, and we traveled. You know, my dad is an artist, and he was a lecturer, and my mom as well, she was a teacher, and they were there at the time. We were there for like 3 years, and then because my mom was born in England, we traveled to England. We could all get passports, so we traveled to England from when I was maybe 4 years old. So then we lived in England, in South London, and in South London, if you don't know, it's a big West African, but particularly Niger community in South London, in like Elephant and Castle, in Peckham, in Clapham, and all those places, and a big Caribbean population too. Yeah. So it's just like a nice melting pot. And then later we moved out to like the suburbs in England, this place called Kent. I went to a really nice school. You're wearing suit and tie and the whole thing, and houses. The Niger audience, I'm sure you know all this because the education system is very similar actually from the English system. So you're familiar with all these things. And so that's kind of that trajectory from being born to then moving to New York in 2010. And then since 2010, I've been in New York. So
we'll get to all that. We'll get to all that. Yeah. So have you been to Nigeria since then?
Since leaving Nigeria, I haven't stepped foot on Nigerian soil since then, and it's way overdue. It's way overdue.
It's overdue.
Long overdue. Long overdue. The family that I had over there would always come and visit and come to the UK. And plus, a lot of my family also moved out to the States. So now being in the States makes it so, easy to connect and hang and do all of that stuff. So most of us are here now. Very few are still in the UK, but most of us are in the States now. So now it's just, for me personally, it's long overdue. I want to go over there and just
you need to
reconnect. I still have a few friends there and that I see from time to time, again in the States, but I want to come over there and hang with them there. So it's long overdue.
It's
You
long
gotta let
overdue.
me know when you're going, and you're gonna take me out. Okay,
We'll go together.
you're gonna take me out.
So you mean it didn't have much of influence from the Nigerian point of view, like musically?
Not from the Nigerian location, but from the Nigerian culture, yes, for sure. It's like you take a person from Nigeria, but they take Nigeria with them in spirit. So it's like, as you can see right here, this is one of my biggest influences, John Coltrane.
Coltrane, yeah.
But when you see right up there, that's one of my biggest influences too.
That should be Fela, I think.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, these are just parts of the sound that I, especially as a saxophone player, it's Fela, it's Coltrane, it's and then some of the other great players from the continent, like Manu Dibango as well, like all these La Baja, and then so like even some music which is more esoteric, but it really hit me. It was, do you know the Sakara group, Yusuf Olatuja and his Sakara band? It's really esoteric. He's playing the gourd, he's singing, his drums, it's just like raw. So there were a few records which I found when I was a teenager, and that music just spoke to me. It was really spiritual, but it's still party music, still like just bigging up the chiefs and bigging up the important people in the neighborhood. He's just singing those like praise songs for those people. But the way it was done, it was so deep. And you know how Nigerian music, it connects so spiritually to something. So it just hit me from when I was a kid, for a teenager. And I've been listening to those records, and just like that stuff has been moving me, and Fela and all the beautiful stuff. And then of course the modern music as well, you know. And it's nice to see a lot of these guys bring saxophone back into their music. I'm seeing a lot of these young superstars. I mean, these guys are my age, so we're all young, thankfully. But these superstars that are bringing our saxophone into their music and keeping that culture and tradition alive is like fantastic.
Okay, that's nice. So getting into music now, how did you get to be involved in music, and why did you pick sax?
Wow, that's funny, because I always say that the sax picked me, because I remember seeing my uncle when I went to visit him in Texas. He had a saxophone, and he didn't really even play it that much, but he had one. He opened it out of the box. I saw it shining in gold, and we opened it, and it just spoke to me. I couldn't play it. He couldn't really play it. So it wasn't that sound, but then that plus all the music I'd been listening to and connecting, oh, this is the instrument that they played. Wow. So from then on, the saxophone just spoke to me. And you know how it is with Niger parents. It's not that you just ask for one thing and you just get it immediately. No. So it's like, let me get a saxophone. And it was maybe a year and a half or so of me asking for a saxophone, and then be like, oh yeah, I'll get you a trumpet. I'm like, no, saxophone. And then eventually I got this saxophone, and honestly, my life just changed. It was just like focus. It was speaking to me. I felt like I could just understand the instrument, and it's not an easy instrument to understand, but I could
certainly
understand it. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good one. So you didn't really have any opposition, like most Nigerian parents who insist that you have to go to school, music will not allow you to finish your school?
Well, yes and no, because Nigerian parents and the Nigerian community at large, everyone wants the best for their kids. And that's so beautiful to see. And so these pathways that afford the best for their kids are the ones that the Nigerian community really encourages their kids to step into. So it's like, I never really take any issue with that, because ultimately it's just people wanting the best for their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when you go around, you go abroad, you see Nigerians everywhere.
Yeah.
And B, you see Nigerians in top jobs everywhere.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're going to feel proud, you know? You see Nigerian doctors, bankers, lawyers, all those top jobs. Exactly. People just like doing well. And so that's nice. Now, for me, I was good in school, so that helped.
Yeah.
A, I was good in school. I was getting good grades in school. I was in a good school in the UK. I was getting good grades. And B, my dad is actually a successful artist himself.
Okay.
So he was a lecturer at, I think it was University of Ife.
Ife.
I think he was a lecturer there. I think he went there and became a lecturer, or it was another college that he became a lecturer at. And then he's like done exhibitions at the Smithsonian, in like these great museums in UK, the Horniman Museum, and like all of these things. He's traveled around. So when I was a kid, he would go to Korea and do exhibitions, and then he'd come back, and Austria, and we would sometimes follow him. So him being a successful artist already meant that he knew, if I wanted to be a successful artist, he knew and could encourage me that, it's no joke. It's not easy, but and he could just judge from my personality that I knew what I was doing and I wanted to really pursue this. So then there was no opposition in that sense, because he'd already like paved the way for me.
Yeah.
But without that way being paved, of course, you don't know when someone says, I want to be a musician, what that will mean. You don't know what, because it's such a crazy industry, music.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I studied at Ife.
Oh, wow, look at that. That's cool.
I studied pharmacy at Ife.
Wow, look at that. That's cool.
That's a good place to be, a good environment.
Yeah.
Okay, moving into music now properly. You've played with, I think you're one of the luckiest saxophonists in the world.
Yeah.
Playing with two institutions. I won't call them bands. I'll call them institutions. The Skatalites.
Yes.
And Steel Pulse.
Yes.
So let's start with the Skatalites. How did you get into that?
The Skatalites, again, that was one of those things that chose me. It was part of my journey. So I moved to New York in 2010, as I said. And I moved to New York with no musical contacts. And that classic story of not much money in your pocket, move to New York and try and make it. It was very similar for me. I moved to New York, but I had some relatives there. So I moved to New York and I'm living in the city and I'm just hitting the jam sessions. And a jam session is where musicians, especially instrumentalists, but sometimes singers too, they go and they get together and they play with each other and jam and just hang out on some classic songs that everyone knows. Jazz songs, or sometimes there's R&B jam sessions or reggae jams, all that kind of stuff. And there was this great jam session in Harlem, which is a historic community and just above Central Park in the north of Manhattan. And I was living way down in Brooklyn, so I would just be getting the subway for an hour and 20 minutes or so up to Harlem a few times a week, just to hang out and play and make music, meet people. And one day I met a very interesting musician. He was an older saxophonist. He had on a cap, one of those old school caps, beard, And I recognized him kind of, but I couldn't place it. I was like, I know this man, and he had a saxophone case. So we just kind of vibe, and we start talking, and we had all the same interests. It was really funny. I play a lot of chess. He played a lot of chess. So we were just like talking about chess and strategies and techniques. And then he started telling me all of these stories about traveling all over Africa, about going to Nigeria, about spending so much time in Ethiopia, about spending so much time like all across West Africa. And then he was like, and I play with this band called the Skatalites, and I've been playing with them for a long time. And then it all flooded back. When I was much younger in England, I'd seen the Skatalites play a festival, and I recognized him from there. But he wasn't one of the original members, so it didn't really clock in my mind until he said that. And then I was like, wow, yeah, you're Cedric Brooks. And this was the great Cedric M. Brooks. And he was just telling me all of these stories. And he's, for anyone who doesn't know Cedric Brooks, he's a legendary Jamaican saxophonist.
Yeah.
He wasn't one of the original Skatalites, but he was so legendary in Jamaica, and he had such a huge influence on Jamaican music. He traveled all over Africa. He traveled, spent a lot of time in Ethiopia, and was a really learned individual, amazing musician. And he'd been touring with the Skatalites for years. So me and him are talking at this jam session. And then a few of the other Skatalites band members, some of the younger members, were in that club too. And so they were like, hey, do you want to come and jam with us? We're going to play maybe a Skatalites tune. And I was like, sure, which one? Because I knew all these tunes because I was a fan of the band, So they said, we're going to play Freedom Sound. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And Freedom Sound is bum, 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 psh, bum, 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 ba-da, And then we play that song. We're hanging, we're taking solos. We're just like exploring, having a good time playing. And at the end of that song, Cedric says, listen, I've got to go, but you're going to hear from me really soon. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So he takes my number, I take his number, we exchange numbers. And then literally like a few days later, I get a call from the manager of the Skatalites. And he said, Cedric chose you to be his replacement in the Skatalites.
Wow.
Can you come to Japan next month? And I was just like, what? And I was like, of course I can. And he's like, great, because we have a show in New York that'll be like the first show, and it's like in 2 weeks. And you're going to do a rehearsal with this trumpet player, and then he's going to get you up to speed. And I hear you know all the songs already. I was like, I know quite a lot of them, but the more info you give me, the better.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but why is it so sudden? What's happening? And then they told me Cedric was very ill at the time.
Oh.
And he was looking for a replacement. He found me, and it was like just before he went to the hospital. And then he went into a coma that he didn't come out of.
Oh.
So it was like so deep. It was so sad. It was so like powerful that he'd chosen me as his replacement, and he'd like set everything up just in those final moments. I got to meet his kids, and they were just like, yeah, Cedric was talking about you. And I was just like, I was moved. I couldn't believe it. And then I just felt his energy and his spirit just kind of like guided me through joining this band and starting this whole chapter of my life. And so it's just so interesting how some people have such a big impact and you only meet them for a short time. Cedric was one of those people. And that's how I started in the Skatalites. And it was, and it just took me on a whole journey.
And you stayed there for 10 years, like 10 years.
I stayed there for 10 years with Skatalites. We were going all over like Europe, all over Central America, South America. We went to all of these places I wouldn't even thought I'd go to, and there were fans everywhere, just doing the ska dance and just cheer. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a long one.
Yeah.
But then moving to pure reggae now, I would still pause. How was the transition? Because this reggae now and still pause, they are a bit of activists in a way.
Yeah. Well, the ska music, the Skatalites, when you trace that history, they've touched every corner of Jamaican music. They've touched every corner. And, activism in music is a big part of music in general, but it's a big part of Black music, Afro-Caribbean music. So just like I mentioned, when you hear songs like Freedom Sound, even in instrumental songs, there's a spirit of activism there. And Skatalites, they played on Bob Marley's first records. They played with so many people who had activism as part of their message. And now David Hines is such an interesting person. And growing up as a Caribbean, I can't really speak to his biography or history except for just the personal anecdotes he's told me, but him being Jamaican in Birmingham at the time that he was there, it's like, imagine the things that he was going through and that community was going through. There's no way you couldn't put that message in your music because it's so powerful. Like surviving those times as a Jamaican in Birmingham, there's so much going on. So I think that's why his music speaks to so many people, and not just him, but Steel Pulse. I think that's why the Steel Pulse music speaks to so many people, because it's so raw, you can feel it. So transitioning wasn't like a crazy transition. The beat is different, the style is different, but the music, the spirit of music is the same. The spirit of music is just communicating this energy for the people on stage and just kind of building this world musically on stage. And that's in the Skatalites, or that's in the music I make, or that's in Steel Pulse, or any of the other great artists I've worked with. It's the same spirit. Get on stage and you build this world and you communicate this energy and you just vibe it out with the people,
Okay, are you still with them at the moment? How does it work? Because you're doing.
I'm not still with Steel Pulse, but I'm always with anyone who I've worked with. I'm always with them. I feel fortunate to be able to have a relationship with these artists, and the Skatalites, I consider them family. So when I moved from one group as a touring member of that band to another, that's more just logistics rather than
a split.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So when Steel Pulse offered me the job, it came at the perfect time. So I was working with Steel Pulse, and it's very hard to do more than one band and really commit to it. So I was working with Steel Pulse, and then the pandemic really shut everyone down. And it was really hard. But the last show before the pandemic, I was with Steel Pulse in Ghana. It was an amazing experience. Yeah. The show was crazy because the sound was all over the place in the show, but just the energy and the people and the vibe and just being there in Ghana and seeing the vibe, seeing the energy, it was fantastic. And then I got back home just before the lockdowns, which was again perfect timing. And then as things started to come back, I did a few shows, I did some tours, but there wasn't much going on. And then I ended up in the studio a lot. And then I ended up working with these like great artists and great producers. And this really amazing producer, Jack, he asked me to join his band. So I was joining his band, and then we started touring more and more and more. And now that band is just like exploding. Yeah, exactly. And going to like, we just did Madison Square Garden. It's this great band called, it's a rock music. It's a great band called Bleachers. And we did Madison Square Garden, and we did like all of these great festivals, Coachella and Lollapalooza, and all of that stuff. So we're just like going into the stratosphere. But whenever David calls, it's always a pleasure to talk to him. It's always like, he's got stories for days. That guy is a deep guy. Selwyn, David, Amlak, all the guys. C Sharp, the drummer. It's like
the drummer,
family. You know what I mean? This is like these people are just. I'm with them, and they're with me in spirit, whether we're in person or not.
You know, one of my personal thing, which, in fact, let me ask you as a request. I want to talk to David on this show.
Okay.
Because he's, if I count 10 personalities, public figures worldwide, he has to be in that 10 for me.
Yeah.
I'm not talking of music alone. I'm talking of personality.
I understand. Figures. I understand.
So I want to talk to David. I know this show is about Nigeria, but I have Nigerian questions for him.
Yeah. The questions are Nigerian.
Yes, I have Nigerian questions.
Sorry, I like that. That's
okay, they came to Ghana, and they really come to West Africa, I noticed, but they go to East Africa more.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. Well, with Jamaican culture, there's a big connection with Ethiopia, so they do go to, like, Ethiopia is a big destination for a lot of the Jamaican artists. But West Africa has great reggae music too. Nigeria has great reggae music.
Yeah, but it's not so much again. It's gone.
It's not so. It used to be. It used to be. It's not so much anymore. But and there was a time when it was peak.
Yeah, 80s, mid 80s to early 90s was.
Yeah.
So you know what they call connection in Nigeria.
What's that?
That's when you know somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, of course. It's okay.
When you know somebody that knows somebody, you can get
things done.
I want to talk. Yes, I want connection to David.
Okay.
You know the reason why I want to talk to him. You know, they came to Nigeria in the early 80s.
Right.
Yeah, to Ife in particular, to the school. That was before I went to the school, before I got admission to the school.
Yeah.
And they had a rough time there. Yeah, so this is Nigerian music history. I want people to like get to still know and get his mindset. Though I've watched an interview that he said he had no issues with Nigerian people except the unscrupulous promoter that took away their money and stuff like that. So that is one of the reasons I want to talk to him.
Okay.
Apart from the fact that he's my he's my number one frontman. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Fantastic frontman.
We call it connection.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see what the connection can connect.
Yeah. Thank you in advance.
All right. I like that. That's good.
Yeah. So, mass manipulation. I listened to Zem
Yes.
yesterday. How did that all come about?
How that came about is David said, Zem, do you have anything for me? And I have a studio here. And so I was like, give me a few days. I'm going to put something together. And I layered some, because I play a lot of instruments. I layered some drums. I layered some flute, some saxophone, and just built this sound world. And I sent all of these tracks, all of these individual stems, I sent them to David. And him, and I think it was Sirius, the guitarist as well, was looking over these stems and lining some of these things up and just making, like, tweaking the sound here and there. And then they just decided that They just wanted to release that as the track on its own, as an interlude. They weren't going to put anything else on top of it. They just wanted to boom. And I was like, okay, what an honor. That's amazing. And then I was like, what are you going to call it? And he goes, don't worry about that. I got something. You know? And then it was only until I saw it on the cover and it says Zem Dem.
Zem Dem.
I was laughing. I was laughing.
It's quite funny. Just Zem Dem. It's a 31-minute interlude. And
exactly.
Quite good. I have some other names here. I have Lauryn Hill, Taylor Swift, Kendrick Lamar, Julian Marley.
Yeah.
You've done stuff with these people. I mean,
yes, I have. Yeah. Music has taken me all over the place.
Yeah. So, mass manipulation. I rooted for Steel Pulse to pick the Grammy.
Yeah.
I was personally disappointed.
Well,
how did the band? How did it go with the band?
You know, it was that's an interesting Grammy year actually, because it was Coffee who won.
Yeah, no.
That time.
Coffee won, yeah.
And we were all. I actually couldn't make that Grammys because I just had my first kid had just been born. My son had just been born. So I was just like, even though we'd been nominated and it's such an honor to be nominated, the rest of the crew went, but I just said, listen, I'd rather just be at home right now. These like precious times with my son. So I stayed home. We were all kind of excited, but at the same time, like winning these awards versus being nominated versus like not. For bands like Steel Pulse, obviously it's fantastic to win an award or be nominated for an award, but the legacy of a band like Steel Pulse goes way beyond awards, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
The legacy goes way beyond. So even though some of the, you know, we would talk about it, we would joke about it and this and that and the other, it's all good. You know what I mean? Like these guys have done so much in music, they've done so much for music but having said that, anytime you win an award, it's a fantastic honor from the industry. It's like them shining a light on a band, on an ensemble. So it's like, it's both things. It's really important, it's really nice, and at the same time, the artistry is much bigger than the
awards. Yeah,
exactly.
Certainly. So your award, where did you now pick the award from, the Grammys from?
Yeah, so a few years later now, I find myself, I'm working with Taylor Swift, and this is through Jack Antonoff. He produced so many of her albums, and so we were doing all those Taylor version re-releases of her original music. And then we did the Midnight album, and we did Tortured Poets Department. And so on those albums, I'm playing keys, I'm playing sax, engineering, and doing all these things. So it comes Grammy season, and Taylor's nominated for Midnights. And this time we all go down. And this was my first time at the Grammys now. So I bring my wife, we're having a great time. We're sitting in the auditorium. They call the name, Taylor wins. And yes, fantastic experience, fantastic moment. So all the crew, especially the ones who are like heavily involved in more of the production side of things, like in the engineering and obviously the producers and all those people. So we all, you know, we go home with an actual Grammy you know, in theory, like what really happens is you go home and then they send you your Grammy in the mail.
Yeah,
like,
it's true. Yeah.
Later. But in essence, we get this actual physical Grammy, and it's like, it's a nice symbol of your participation in something that made a big impact in the world. Yeah, it's like, it is a fantastic thing. But honestly, the honor of just being involved in the project with Taylor is so important.
It's
So
important, man.
having a Grammy is like the icing on the cake. And just like all the other great artists I've been able to either be on stage with or in the studio with, it's like just being there, being present, being in the room, being on the stage. It's another world. In the world of music, you're stepping into another world. It's like there's no award that can really capture that.
It's true.
But there's so much gratitude for all of the awards at the same time.
That's a nice one. That's a nice one. I mean, how about Kendrick? What do you do with Kendrick?
Same thing. So I've been working on Kendrick's album GNX while he was recording it, and I would go into the studio, and sometimes he would sing me a line and I'd play it and we'd just explore these sounds. And so I was playing saxophones, and sometimes he would send it to me and I'd record it at my place. By he, I mean his team. His team would send it through the producer, Jack Antonoff, and he's the one who brought me again on this project. Okay. And they'd send it to me and I'd play these parts. So the one that you'll probably, for all the Kendrick fans, that they'll probably recognize is TV Off. That horn line, I was recording those horn lines. So I was recording those horn lines on that. And again, it's just like an honor to be involved in these tracks that when I'm walking outside in Flatbush and in Brooklyn and these places, I hear people bumping that in their car. And I'll hear my horns being played coming into someone's car. It's just like, it's an amazing experience.
And they don't know you're the one that did that.
Yeah, no, I'm just like out for a run, or I'm just like walking through, and it's like, it's cool. It's a vibe, you know, just to participate in the culture, participate in the music that the people around me are into, you know.
Yeah. Okay, how about the jazz part? Because yesterday too, I listened to Spirit.
Yeah.
Fantastic pieces.
Oh, so, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, jazz is my roots. Spiritually, musically, that's the core, that one of the things that pulled me in to the instrument, to the saxophone in particular. So the jazz part is huge for me. As a saxophonist, I feel like that instrument kind of unlocks something in jazz. So many of the great musicians, the jazz musicians, were saxophonists. I'm biased, obviously, because I'm a saxophonist, but
yeah,
for me, so the greatest were the saxophonists. Coltrane and Wayne Shorter, Sonny Rollins, Dexter Gordon, Ben Webster, Sonny Stitt. It's like the list goes on and on and on. So I've just been a student of the game. I've been just a lover of that sound, the vocabulary musically, the actual phrases that people play. But more than that, I've been a fan of that freedom and that spirit that comes from playing jazz, where you take melodies and you play with them and you bring them on a whole journey without words necessarily. They're made some of the best jazz musicians are vocalists, but as an instrumentalist, taking melody and playing with it and bringing all the emotion out and bringing that rhythm and the expression of culture and time and all that into a melody, that's always hit me. So in 2017, I made this jazz album, and I wanted to work with some of my friends from New York and the people who I'd played with on gigs. And then I got the chance to meet Mike Stern, who'd played with Miles Davis, and he said he wanted to be on this record with me. So it was just a fantastic experience to bring him to the studio and hear his perspective on these grooves. And some of these grooves are coming from Skatalites music and coming from like Afrobeats vibes in the drumming. So having more jazz focused and fusion focused artists expressing their interpretation of this groove was very interesting for me, because there's a song called Big Chi on that record, which is a bass line taken from a Skatalites song called Fuchsias. And then I reimagined it. So I always want to bring my influences in, musical influences, cultural influences. And that's how that album Spirits was born.
No, that's a good one. Unfortunately, we are not strong on jazz back in Nigeria.
Yeah. No, it's
apart from the death of.
There are some diehard jazz fans in Nigeria.
There are
diehard jazz fans. Yes.
I know that Fela started from jazz.
Yeah.
Before he brought in every other thing. Then in the 90s, I think we had someone that was called Heavy Winds. That was it. Yeah, Heavy Winds. Adeniji Heavy Winds, but I think he moved to the US or something.
Okay.
But I have a jazz song that I'm listening to from Nigeria.
Yeah.
I have the file copy. I have the link. I'll send it to you.
Send it to me, please.
I'll send it to you. It's a traditional kind of jazz, rock, and a bit of it. Yes. I'll send it to you after this program.
Yeah.
I have the file. The artist gave me the raw, how do you call it?
Yeah.
The file itself, apart from
the
links.
The MP3 file. Yeah.
At least, Maybe you let us know how you feel about that. Yeah.
For sure. Sure, it's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Then, so how is life? How do you compare UK and New York now, living in London and living in New York now?
I mean, one big city to another. London is a big metropolis, and New York is just an even bigger metropolis. The transition wasn't anything crazy, just because New York is so diverse. So it's a place where you can easily fit in. It's like the American culture is different from the English.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I really love both places. I love every time I'm back here in London, I always get to see friends of mine that I went to school with or university with. We have a good time, and it's funny going back to London because London is expensive, low-key. London is an expensive place.
Whoa.
So
yeah, it is.
When I left London, I just graduated college. And, when you just graduate college, you're on a shoestring budget. So going back to London now when I'm working, and I can experience a bit more of London that I couldn't experience when I was like a teenager. So I have a great time in London. And then for anyone who wants to come to New York, just come to New York. It's one of the best cities in the world. Like, definitely come to New York. It's a great hang. All the music you want to see is here. Yeah. All the food you want to eat is here. The energy is free. There's all sorts of people. So you do have to be prepared for a little bit of the rub, but sometimes New Yorkers get a bad reputation. But when you're here, you'll understand. Like, New Yorkers aren't rude. New Yorkers aren't like, they're not aggro.
I'm a Lagosian.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like Lagosians get the same reputation as New Yorkers, funnily enough. And it's an illusion, Life is faster in New York. People move faster. They have a place to go. They don't want people just like walking slow right in front of them or whatever. But New Yorkers will stop and help you. New Yorkers will like try and just want to talk to you and hang out and vibe with you. New Yorkers look after each other. There's like a lot of community in New York. So it's just one of those misunderstandings that it clarifies itself once you spend some time here. You'll be like, New York is all right,
Okay, I got a comment here. Jeremy Afolabi. It's quite an interesting and enlightening chat with your guest. Congratulations to him for the Grammy Award. Wishing him more grace.
Thank you very much.
That's a comment out there. So now, what is going on? What projects do you have?
Yeah, so right now I've been in the studio a lot with some great artists. There's a new Sabrina Carpenter album coming out that I was fortunate to work on. There's a new Doja Cat album coming out that I was fortunate to work on. And another thing that I'm really excited about is I'm putting out a single on Friday, August 22nd.
Friday.
Yes, I'm putting out a
22nd.
single. It's called "You Can't Catch Me." It's
You can't touch me. Yeah.
You can't catch me. Yeah.
You can't catch me.
Yes, it's sax, it's vocals, it's heavier on the Afro beats, groove vibe, but still with the jazz roots and the ska roots, all the influences that we've discussed, and some more pop production, just bringing all of that into one sound. It's like dance energy, and that comes out Friday. I'm really excited about that, and that's going to be the start of an EP, which is going to come out in October. So that's been the latest thing that I'm looking forward to. And on top of that,
how do people get to stream that or listen to that?
So go on my Instagram at Zem Audu. You can go on my website, zemaudu.com, and you can pre-save it. There's all of the links are going to be available. So if you're into Spotify or Apple Music, you just click the link on my bio in Instagram and it'll take you to the pre-save. And there's going to be a video premiere at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, New York time, 11 a.m. on August 22nd. So
what time would that be in Nigeria?
Let's see. I reckon that would be 4 o'clock, if I'm doing my maths right. I think that would be 4 p.m. in Nigerian time. So
on Instagram at Zem Adu, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be the video premiere for the single on YouTube. So you can find the links on Instagram and the website.
Okay, I'm at home on YouTube.
Nice. You're a YouTube guy, so exactly.
YouTube,
yes.
Wow, we'll spend like going to an hour now, so So, how much of the current rev of the moment Nigerian artists do you feel or do you listen to?
I listen to everything that comes my way through the radio, through Spotify, through like friends, and through touring as well. I always check out, and I feel really connected to it. So, of course, Burna Boy, of course, Wizkid, of course, I used to, back in when I was in London, it was One Day Cole, and it was
One Day Cole.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That was like back when I was still in London times, and those were the guys who I was listening to. So I was just tried to stay connected to the music that was coming from Nigeria, like the R&B music, the hip hop music, the Afrobeats music, and it's been really inspiring seeing how Afrobeats as a genre on its own has just taken over.
Exploded.
Just taken over. And it's like, yes, this is how it's supposed to be, because there was a time when the music from places were being used without being credited as much.
It's true. Yeah.
And now that there's like a name attached to it, there's real like people who are pushing it and pioneers, and there's a bigger industry around it. Now it's like, when you say Afrobeats, you say in Nigeria.
Where it's coming from, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's cool. It's like, that's how it should be. And it's nice to see people just like blowing up and becoming big stars, and they're amazing musicians. So sometimes when we're doing festivals, I'll be playing on the same festivals. So I was hanging out with Burna Boy's crew, and all the musicians are great musicians, and it's just nice to see. I'll talk to the sax player, the keyboard player. Some of them are UK-based musicians.
It's true. Yeah.
So we have like just a rapport and a vibe, and it's just so nice to be a part of a musical community, and it's nice to share being Nigerian in common. But even with people who I don't share being Nigerian in common with them, I just share being part of a musical community in common with them. And that like musical brotherhood, sisterhood is like fantastic all the men and women playing music, it's like I feel a kinship to them. So especially when you're on the road, because being on the road is no joke. Being on the road is not for the faint of heart. You're like musicians have to look out for each other and support each other and just like encourage each other to just keep going on, because sometimes it's glitz and glamour, other times you're in the trenches.
It could be raw. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, talking about that, what story or a story from life on the road with Steel Pulse can you let us know that fans don't know about? Or fans will be surprised to hear.
Oh, surprised. With Steel Pulse. Let me see. Steel Pulse, I don't think there would be anything too surprising. We used to travel so much playing all of the reggae festivals. It was really cool, like hanging with David, because you go to a hotel and someone's gonna come out and say, "Oh, you're David from Steel Pulse," and just like hanging with him as he's telling these stories and just talking to either us or fans. It's always a really cool experience. And I don't know, it's not really surprising stories. It's just kind of interesting stories. Some of them you just had to be there. Like I can't really tell too many of the stories. But one of the things I can say is that we find ourselves all over the place with all types of people from all walks of life. And that's one of the most interesting things about being a musician. One day you're talking to some world leader. The next day you're talking to some person who's, who doesn't have means really, but the music is just one of the biggest parts of their life. And it's like just being able to be around people from all over, from all walks of life, and just be one of the people with the people. It's like one of the biggest blessings of being a musician,
All right, thank you so much. You're going towards 1 hour now.
All right. Yeah, so, you get me started talking about music. It is it's a whole thing.
The Nigerian situation, the Nigerian industry is such that for every Burna Boy you see, there could be like close to 1,000 that is trying to come out.
Yeah.
And the structure is not really there because the beat labels are not there. The boys just struggle on their own to to create relevance before they are taken off. So what would be your word to an artist that is struggling, trying to come out, to be noticed?
I would say the most important thing that I could say from my own experience is you got to ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing, what it is that moves you to do what you're doing. And once you connect with that, the why of what it is that you're doing, then you just keep going on your journey. There's nothing more important than your own belief in why you're doing what you're doing. If you love music, or if you love this sound, if you love the people that you're working with, if you love that connection you have with the audience and with the people who are responding, if you know in your heart that you have something to share with the world, then you just go on your journey, and it's like Godspeed, That's the most important thing.
Okay, we'll be signing out. Thanks so much, Zem, for this wonderful interview.
Thank you, Joseph.
Don't forget my connection.
Oh yes, let's see what the connection could connect. All right,
a connection request, and of course, I'm gonna send you that that file or link.
Yeah,
so it's just have a feel of something you've not heard before.
Nice,
right?
Very good.
I'm signing out. This is Music in My Ears, the Nigerian Music History channel. Please subscribe to the channel. That's the only way that keeps us encouraged to go and look for the artists that maybe you don't know. So I sign off for now until the next interview. Peace, man.
All right.
Thank you, Zem.
Yes, thank you, Joseph.
Right, thank you.